You can. Parse that. All right, guys. This is worksheet 13, and we are day 2, more practice on linear programming / optimization / section 6.5. Trying to make sure we're ready for the quiz. And we'll probably do some other review stuff today. Okay. What do you need me to do? 1 wasn't assigned. 2 is assigned. Do you want to practice this one? This one is minimizing the cost. I believe it's going to be an unbounded region. All right. I'm going to read the question. Story time with Hofbauer. A fertilizer has nitrogen and phosphorus. We need at least 180 units of nitrogen and 90 units of phosphorus. Brand A fertilizer costs $10 a bag and will give us 4 units of nitrogen and 1 unit of phosphorus. Brand B costs us $5 a bag and has 1 unit of nitrogen and 1 unit of phosphorus. So how many bags of each should we buy in order to minimize the cost? Okay. My objective function has to do with what? At the end, what am I trying to do? Minimize the cost. Can you give me the cost? Well, first of all, we have brand A and brand B, right? Is what we're buying. That right there can be really confusing to students. Okay, how many bags of each are we buying? Well, what are we buying bags of? We're not buying bags of nitrogen and phosphorus, right? So I'm going to use X and Y. You can use A and B, but then you got to be careful when you go to graph it, okay? So I'm going to be X is number of bags of brand A, and Y is number of bags of brand B. Is everybody okay with that? All right, so can anybody help me with the objective function? I always do it first because then I can cross that out. I don't need those numbers anymore. A brand A costs $10 a bag. And brand B costs $5 a bag. Everybody good? Okay. So I'm getting rid of this number and this number. So I don't need those anymore. We already put those into an equation we're going to use at the end of the problem. Now we need our constraints. Two easy ones. We can't have negative of either of those things, right? Those are written on the quiz already. Now what? Well, I look up here and see at least 180. So I'm thinking greater than or equal to 180. And what does that 180 have to do with? This is nitrogen. So now I need something about nitrogen in terms of bags of A. Bag A has 4 units of nitrogen, right? So 4 nitrogen every time I buy an A bag. And what about nitrogen in a B bag? 1. Okay. Now there was another something up here. We needed phosphorus, and it was again at least 90 units of phosphorus. So greater than or equal to 90. And this is the sentence about phosphorus. What do I get for phosphorus in each brand? 1 out of each, right? So I get 1 if I buy a bag of X or 1 if I buy a bag of Y. Anybody lost? Okay. This is, I'm not going to count very carefully. I'm warning you right now. This equation right here, X plus Y equals 90, would have intercepts where? I'm doing the green one first. 90, 0, and 0, 90. Everybody okay? Before I try to scale this paper, maybe I should talk about the other one. Where are the intercepts on this one? 0, 180, And if y was 0, 180 divided by 4 is 45, maybe? Okay. So if I go cross 0 and up 180, I'm just going to make this 180. And so if I make this 180, this would be 90 in here somewhere and 45 in here somewhere. Yep, I'm just doing a really rough sketch. All right, the other one would be from 90 to 90. All right, so my sketches are rough, rough, rough. Am I talking about this little area down here? Anybody know if we're talking about this little area down in the corner? Because it's at least, right? Okay, so it was above the red and above the blue. So the area we're talking about is bounded here. We can buy 10,000 bags of each and we'll have enough. But I don't think that's going to minimize the cost, right? We're trying to minimize the cost. So this point right down here is 90, 0. That's a boundary, right? And it goes this way, but the more extra we buy, the more we're going to spend. This boundary up here is 0, 180. And it would go up from there, but again, it's not going to minimize our cost. This one here, we need to find. Any suggestions? Could do a matrix. We just want to find where they're equal. It doesn't matter it's greater than or less than, right? We just want to find the point where they're equal. But look how they line up, guys. Can I just subtract them real quick? If I just subtract, I get 3x equals 90, which would make x 30. Okay, I subtracted to get that. If I put that back into the second equation, it says x plus y equals 90. So I get 60. So I'm thinking that ordered pair is 30, 60, where they intersect right there. It's fairly readable so far, yes? All right, you ready to try? How many boundary points are we looking at this time? Only 3, right? Okay, what are we got to put them in here? I'm just going to erase a little room right up here and then it'll fit on here. Okay, so here's my little chart. I have 0, 180. I could buy, this is A and this is B, remember? Okay. I could buy 90 and 0, or I could buy 30 and 60 and I would get enough. What would the cost be? Well, it's 10 and 5. So 180 times 5 is $90, I think. Did I do that right? 90 times, yeah, 180 times 5, $900? That would be a little better. 90 times 10 is also $900. 30 times 10 would be 300, plus 60 times 5 would be 300. So we'd have $600. That would save us a lot of money. So rather than just buying brand A or just buying brand B to get enough, if we do a few of each, we can end up saving a whole bunch of money. So again, I want you to think about this. If we buy 30 and 60 in this equation right here, we'll get 180. If we buy 30 and 60 here, we'll get 90. Okay, so we get enough of each kind, and it's going to minimize our cost by $300 or more, because of my 10,000 of each would have got us enough. But Okay, so minimum cost of $600 for, it was 30 bags of A and 60 bags of B. I fit it all on there. And it's almost readable. Till I print the slides for someone and it's in a space this big and this print out. All right. Yes. I can in a couple minutes. I promise. I was thinking we can do the cat one if you want, or we could just set it up or something. I think it's assigned. It's homework. Okay. You also have to do this, another percentage one. That's like the one on the quiz. And you have to do this one. This is very much like the quiz, except instead of vacuum cleaners, it's like pigs and cows or something. Farmer Joe is raising pigs and cows. Okay. Shall we do 7 at least? Okay. Mr. Big and Ms. Small are starting a company making remote control vacuum cleaners. They're going to go into business against Roomba. Is that the name of those little things? Little robot vacuum cleaners? Okay. They're going to make big ones and small ones. They have only enough materials to make at most 6 big or at most 8 small each day. Takes them 2 hours to make a big one and an hour to assemble a small one. They can put in at most 16 man-hours in a day. They make a profit of $120 on each big vacuum and $100 on each small vacuum. How many of each should they make to maximize profit? Does this seem kind of a reasonable question? Okay. So this is what it would look like on the quiz. Remember, I think I told your class this yesterday, but I actually broke it into 3 separate sections. Okay. Maybe I didn't tell you this. On this question, all you have to do on the quiz is this part, okay? Get it all set up. Because on another question, I've given you the setup with different numbers and said find the corner points. And then on a third question, I found all the corner points and you have to maximize or minimize. The reason is I used to do it all as one, but that makes it really hard with this grading system because I can't tell, is it one concept you don't get or all of them? Do you know what I'm saying? This way, by breaking it apart, you're not getting double whammied if you don't get some little piece of it right. All right. All right, so for today, though, for this question, we're supposed to do the whole thing. What do you want X and Y to represent? Okay. Of course, being Hofbauer, I put the profit expression right up top because I like to get it out of the way. 120 on a big and 100 on a small, okay. And I gave you these, I did on the quiz as well, they can't be negative, okay. Now be very careful because we haven't done a lot like this, and it's on the quiz, I think. They can make at most 8 big vacuums. That's actually an inequality all by itself. They can make at most 6 big vacuums. I can read just not well. Sorry. 6 big vacuums. So X has to be less than or equal to 6. What kind of line is that? Vertical line, right? We can't have more than 6. All right. What about big vacuum or small vacuums? Y has to be less than or equal to 8. I don't know if I have those at the right spot because I'm kind of guessing those tiny little lines. I hope everybody's paying attention because that's like that on the quiz. Okay, there's a question. You might have to do a horizontal or vertical as part of it. All All right, it takes them 2 hours to put together a big one, 1 hour to make a little one, and working together, there's 16 man hours that they can work with. It's $2 for a big one and 1 hour for a small one, less than or equal to 16. I assume they're each working 8 hours and there's 2 of them, so it's 16 man hours, okay? What is that one going to look like? This was 8, this was 6. It would start up at 16 and go down 2 and over 1. No idea where that is, which means it would cross over here at 8. Okay. So I'm thinking we're in this little cut off rectangle area. Anybody know how we can pretty easily find those intersection points? One has to have an x value of 6 and the other one has to have a y value of 8, right? Yeah. So this line is 2x plus y equals 16, this green one. So it hits the blue one, which has a y of 8, at 2x plus 8 equals 16, which would be 4. So this is 4, 8. This guy out here was 0, 8, by the way. And this one down here has what? X value of 6, so it's 2 times 6 plus y equals 16, which makes y 12 from 16 is 4. So 6, 4. And this guy was 6, 0. And there's 0, 0. Are there that many? I don't think I put all these down here. Okay. Did I miss one? Why is 0, 16 not one of them? Y has to be less than 8. Okay. All right. Anybody, can I just leave you guys to do the profit? Figure out where it is? I think you can handle that. All right. Did you want me to help set up the Siamese kitten one before I quit on this for the day, or do you want me to answer other questions? You want to try it on your own? Okay. What do you want me to do then? We're going to review for the SLO test. Is that what I'm supposed to be opening? Packet 1. Oh, okay. Her questions are on the review for the quiz, which I will continue to answer questions on Monday, but I'm telling you right now that I'm not going to do every problem because I already did. If you noticed, the answers are on the back of that packet, right? Okay. So I will answer any questions you have. That's okay, but we can go over questions still. Review for summative 12. It was given out yesterday. Review for summative 12. It's up in the front by the plant if you need one. Looks like this. Okay. Up there. Yep, sorry. Number 10. Okay. Anybody know what we're going to do to find the inventory value of the inventory for store A and store B? These are the retail values of these calculators. So if I look at this as a little matrix, it's a 1 by 3, right? Okay, where 1 represents the dollars and 3 represents the calculator. If I look at this little guy, he's a 3 by 3, where the rows are the calculators and the other 3 up and down are the stores. So what order could I multiply these in where I'd end up with dollars per store? Okay, 1 by 3 times the 3 by 3, because these are both the kinds of calculators, and I would end up with the dollars per store, A, B, and C. So all you're going to do is put this in a matrix A as a 1 by 3, and this in matrix B as a 3 by 3, and then do A times B. Could you do it by hand? Well, yeah. Store A has 7 of these, 3 of these, and 4 of these. You just add it up. So I hope everybody gets it right, because I hope even if you don't really know anything about matrices, you should be able to find the total of their inventory. Better? Ready? Ready?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great question, which is not only on the quiz, but on the final. This is number 7 on the review for quiz packet. Okay, if these are X, Y, and Z, and these are augmented matrix, this sentence says X equals 9, Y equals 7, and 0 equals -5. What does that mean? No solution, right, for that one? Everybody okay? The second one, if this is X, Y, Z, and this is an augmented matrix, this is X equals 12, Y equals -3, and 1Z equals 5. So we get 12, -3, and 5. What does this last one mean? Okay, but the first equation means X plus 3Z equals 8. The second equation means Y plus 2Z equals 4. Is that what it was before I scribbled on it, guys? And then I have 0 equals 0, and that's the sentence that tells us we're going to have many solutions. And what you have to write is a general solution with only one variable. Well, these both have in common what? A Z. So I'm going to start out by putting Z in here and saying Z could be any number. Now, this is where students get really confused what they're supposed to solve for and put in here. I need to make that first equation say what? X equals, yes. So it'll be 8 minus 3Z, and that's what's going to go in here. When you're done, just know that it has to have only Z's in it, okay? The second equation, Y plus 2Z equals 4, would rearrange to 4 minus 2Z or -2Z plus 4. Better? Did I do it in such a way that it makes sense? I want to make sure you understand it so you can do it again. Am I done for the day? Or you have more questions on anything that was due today? Or on this packet? Or one of the final review packets? Okay, number 9 is a quiz question. We went over one like this today. Any ideas? Just did one like this. Okay, but how are you going to distinguish between the 3 different investments? Yeah. So this is the money we put, I'm just going to say at 2%. Is that easy enough? The money that's sit in the account that's at 4% and the money at 5%. You're going right to the tricky one? What are we doing? Oh, the amount invested at 2% is 20,000 more than the total invested at 4 and 5%. Does that equation seem okay?
Yeah.
Okay. What? Okay. So this was money, 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 but it was the total in each account. This was interest earned is 2%, interest earned is 4%, interest earned is 5%, total interest earned is 4,700. Then we were back to an amount invested at 2%. That's what we wrote over here. So that's X is or equals 20,000 more than the total invested at these, not the interest, but the total invested. Okay. If you're solving, which you don't have to do on the quiz, it says right here, set up but do not solve, you'd have to rearrange the matrix a little bit, rearrange the equation. What else? Anything on the review for quiz or any of the final exam reviews yet? Anybody? Not today? We good? Nobody wants me to set up the Siamese cat question? All right.